Welcome to Whole and Beautiful. Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am so glad that you all have joined me for another night of information, revelation, and change. Yes, guys, tonight is another phenomenal night. We're going to have a great time tonight, and I am so glad that you have come in to listen, that you've come in to hear what I have to say on tonight. It is going to be great. I have a lot that I wanted to share with you all. But before we get into that, you may see that my screen is a little bit different tonight, and that is quite all right. Had to use a different device in order to be on the show tonight, and that is quite all right. That is fine. I am here and I am excited about sharing the information that I have on tonight. As I tell you each night on Friday nights, that it's a phenomenal night. It's going to be a great night of information, revelation, and change. I still do my other segments like couples conversations. I'm looking for some couples that I can talk to because I just want to see about their relationships. I want to see how they operate together and what they do to make their marriage work. Because what they may do may not be what you do, but it's good to have that information and see people move together as one and how they work it out with each other. So I'm looking for some more couples that I can interview. I have my faithful couples, which is the Oliphants and the Fullers. I usually go; those are my go-to couples, and I sit and I have conversations with them, and they have been really, really good. And I'm looking for more couples that I can interview. So if you would like to be that person or those people, send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will get you on the show. Also, I am looking for different men who may be mentoring other young men in the community, in your church, in your business. I want to interview you because I want to get the male perspective and see what it takes to mentor these younger men. And some may be mentoring some other children in the community or in a school. I want to get you on and talk to you just to have some conversation and see things from the opposite side, see things from the male perspective. So if you would like to be that person or you know a person that you was like, they would be good for Holding Beautiful, send me that email and I will get them on. I'm looking for a great year with Whole and Beautiful. I'm looking to do some great things. So we are doing some amazing things right now. So stay tuned for all the amazing things that will be coming your way this year. I'm looking forward to some great things that I want to share with you and some great people that I want to share with you that I am talking to. So send me those emails. Let me talk to you. Let me know how you enjoy the show. And as you saw this, as the show was coming in, it was a new intro. So if you like the new intro, let me know. Send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com. And I would love to get your input. I would love to see what your thoughts are. But tonight, guys, I wanted to share something with you that I looked at and that it just stuck with me all week long. Um, I was reading as I do, because you all know that I'm a reader and I love to read. But I was reading and I'm reading different books, but I have this one book that I'm sticking with and I'm really reading. I'm taking my time with it because it's not a book that I can just go in and just read. It's like I have to take my time and really read it. And that book is called The Garden Within. I don't have a copy to show you right now because I didn't even know that I was going to tell you about that. But it is a good book by Dr. Anita Phillips. It is an amazing book. I love it. I am reading it and it's really good. So if you have the opportunity to pick up that book by Dr. Anita Phillips called The Garden Within. It will bless your life. It really will. It has been blessing my life, and I've been taking my time and reading it. But another book that I've been reading through and going back and looking at some things. It's called this book right here, The Shepherd, the Sheep, and the Sheepdog. I don't know if you know the author or not, but I know her. Her name is Angela D. Oliphant. Yes, that is my book. I've been going back and I've been reading through some of the book, and I wanted to share something with you that I read in here, and it blessed me. It is amazing to me how God can give you these words that you write on paper. You write these words down, and then you go back and you read it, and it's as if you didn't even write it because you really didn't. He wrote it. So I go back and I'm looking at it, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, this is just so good to me," and it ministers to me. So what is written on these pages will minister to you and will help you. It helps me, and I wrote it down. I only wrote down what God shared with me because I did the study and I went in and I was studying because I wanted to know why He called us sheep. I wanted to know why was it sheep? Why wasn't it another animal? Why wasn't it something else that he would call us or say that we were? But He was saying that we're sheep. So I wanted to know all about the sheep. And part of the book talks about sheep, and it talks about different parts of the sheep and different things like that. But tonight I wanted to talk to you about caring for the sheep. And that's really like caring for yourself. It's caring for the sheep in the body of Christ, but caring for the sheep as in general. And it really helped me so much to go back and read this and go back and look at it because we're living in today's world where things is a little different now, and sheep need to be cared for. They really do. In the body of Christ, they need to be cared for. They need to be watched over. It's just like you watching over your flock, so to speak, the people that you influence because you're leading somebody. You need to be watchful of what you're doing or watchful of them and paying attention. It's really like paying attention to what's going on around you and the people that are around you. Because sometimes we don't pay attention to what's going on with other people, and they are going through tremendous things. They're going through traumatic things, and we don't even know it because we're not picking up on the signals because we're looking at everything that they're doing and we're thinking, oh, they got it together. Oh, they are moving and they moving and shaking. They doing everything that they need to do. But sometimes they are going through some things and we don't even realize what they're going through and we don't know what's happening with them. And as a shepherd over a flock, the shepherd naturally takes care of those sheep. The shepherd is watching over his sheep to take care of them, to make sure that nothing is like getting in the folds of the skin or nothing is getting down into the wool that's going to harm their sheep. But I went back and I looked at the section of the book that is called Caring for the Sheep. And I wanted to share this information with you on tonight because I want you to think about yourself, and I want you to care about yourself enough to take care of you. But then I want you to pay attention to those that are around you. Pay attention if you are over people, if it's in your workplace, if it's at church, if it's in any organization that you may be in and you're over people where you are leading people. Watch them, take care of them. Because a lot of times, like I said, we don't pay attention. We like, I'm here to do a job, or sometimes we get in this mode of just focus. We have that tunnel vision and we are not looking to help anybody else but ourselves. And we have to look more to take care of more people. We have to. We have to because we're in this thing together. We are all here together trying to take care of who we need to take care of. And we need to pay attention to what's going on. And the first part of this I'm just going to read a little bit to you, and then I'm going to talk about it. Y'all mind if I do that? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that. If I don't respond to you, if you are putting up comments, I may not see them on tonight because of what I the device that I'm on tonight. So still send the comments in, still say hello, still share this broadcast with somebody else. Let them know Whole and Beautiful is on. She's out there, guys. She's back. And for those of you who may be listening on tonight, can you please go ahead and share with somebody else? Hey, Linda, how are you? Oh man, I thank y'all for tuning in. Hi, Miss A, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, guys, I'm gonna hop right on into here and we're gonna share what's going on tonight. Okay, we were talking about sheep. I'm gonna share a little bit about the sheep. First, is sheep need to be sheared at least once a year. At least once a year, they have to be sheared so that they can remain healthy. And shear is taking off all that wool. So once a year, they are sheared. And when they are sheared, there is little to no fight when they're shearing the sheep. They don't fight them when they're taken. There's no fight, there's no resistance from the sheep. They stand there quietly. They're very amicable while the shepherd does his job. So they allowing him to take that heaviness off of them because that wool can be very get to the point where it's really heavy. And in order for them to stay, and things can get down in the wool too, where it can harm the sheep. So therefore, it needs to be sheared once a year to take off all that weight. And I thought about us as being sheep. We need to be in a place where we need to be able to take off all that weight. And it's not all that weight like just on the outside, it's all that weight on the inside. We need to be able to shear off those things, allow ourselves to be open, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, allow ourselves to see what's really going on. You need to lay aside the weight. Lay aside the weight. Get rid of some stuff. Do some cleaning throughout your house. Do some cleaning in your heart. Clear out the clutter. You will be amazed what happens when you can just clear out the clutter and get some organization in your life. I've been watching a lot of shows about organizing and getting your stuff together and stuff. I love those shows. Why? Because they clear out everything. And then they only put back what I'm going to use, only going to put back what I'm going to utilize. All the other stuff can be either thrown away or given away. And that's what we need to do even with our lives. We need to realize, hey, some things may need to go. Some things may need to go. And once a year, you should do a cleaning. I mean, a deep cleaning, not just in your house, but in your heart. Sit, evaluate. A lot of people say, you know what, I'm going to do it at the beginning of the year, and they have all these resolutions. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having a sit down, having a come to Jesus moment where you come to him and you sit and you allow the weight and everything to be sheared off of you, to come off of you. And they will tell you that even the shepherd, when he does this, like I said, the sheep, they allow him to do it. They don't fight him. They don't fight him when he's taking the wool off. And if they have to be sheared during a cold month, when it's really cold outside, and the sheep won't be able to stand it if they don't have their wool. So what does the shepherd do? The shepherd puts the sheep in a safe place, a safe place where it's warm inside, like a heated barn or something. They put them in those places and keep them really warm until their wool starts to grow back and they're able to be back outside again. That to me speaks that sometimes we may have to let go of the weight in the environment that we're in. It's not a good environment, but then your shepherd, the one who watches over you, the one who keeps you, will be able to place you in an environment where you can stay in that environment and he will protect you and keep you It may not look like from the natural eye that it's a good environment, but he can protect you in the midst of all of that. And you still can be able to shed that weight, get that weight off of you, and he will keep you and keep you covered until you're able to walk out on your own, until you're able to the hair starts to grow back. How about that? Because sometimes we think that we got to wait for this time, this specific time. I got to do it then because then I'll have this and then I'll have that and then I have this over here. Sometimes things are going to happen and the conditions around you may not be favorable. But even in the midst of that, you can still be covered. If God is your covering, he still can cover you, even in the midst of you shedding off that weight and shedding off those things. If the conditions to the natural eye may not look favorable, but in the midst of it all, he still can cover you and still do the job that needs to be done. And you still can release the weight. You don't have to wait till this is in place and that's in place and this over here is in place. You can go ahead, you can go to him tonight. You can sit and allow him to begin to take off some of those layers where you can just give it over to him. God, I release this to you. I take this off, I give this to you. Because a lot of times we place things on ourselves that don't even belong to us. It's not something that we should be carrying. We are not even structured to carry it. So release some weight this weekend. Release some weight. Let it go. Let God begin to shear off that old wool so you can have new wool that will grow. And let yourself release those things and let it go. Some of us, it's things in our heart that we just got to let go of and just move on. It's a lot of things, even like I said before, in our home. We got to organize, we got to let go so we can move on. Because if you believe it or not, stuff can keep you stuck. Stuff can keep you stuck because you're sitting and you're looking at all this stuff. And I watch so many people on these different shows and stuff, and they feel like they can't move forward. They feel like they can't go forward because they have all this stuff, and they're not trying to get rid of it. They just holding on to everything they get. Everything they get, they are holding on to. And it's time to let go of some things. It's time to let some things go in the natural, in the spiritual, emotionally. It's time to let some things go so that you can live, so that you can be happy, so that you can go forward and do what you have been called to do. So your vision is not clouded and you can see what you need to see so you can get to your next place and do what you need to do. So your first thing is to shear it off, let it go, get all that wool off of you, get all that old stuff off so that the new can start growing. So you got to clear it out. And that's what we talked about. I think we talked about it. I don't know. I talked about this with somebody, but the fallow ground, when it's talking about fallow ground in the Bible, in Hosea, I think it's around like 2:10, I think. But it's talking about fallow ground, break up your own fallow ground. And I found out as I studied that fallow ground is not bad ground. Fallow ground is ground that the farmers have allowed to rest for like 6, 7 years because it is a rich soil and it produces a lot. But they have get because they've used it so much and it has produced so much, they give that ground like 6 to 7 years just to rest and replenish itself and renew itself and do everything that it needs to do in the ground so the ground is ready to receive the water again and ready to receive the seed again. And after about 6 or 7 years, they begin to plow up that ground again and plant in there again. And sometimes we need that break. Sometimes God gives us that break in there, that time of that shearing, where all of that is coming off. And then it's time to break up the ground again, to plant new seed so that you can bring forth and produce again. Sometimes you need the rest. So don't despise the rest time. Don't think that you got to be going, 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 going all the time. Sometimes you need to take a break. Sometimes you need to rest. So take those times that God gives you to rest and really rest. It's not because He doesn't have anything for you to do, it's just time for you to rest. And when you take that time and you rest, get prepared because after that resting time, you're going to be pushed right back out there to go and to do some more things. So, right now, when He gives you that time to rest and to that time to replenish, renew, revive, get your strength back, get those just to be nourished and get their soul rich again so that they can bring forth. Take that time. Enjoy that time because the time is going to come again where you are going to be going, 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 going again and producing and producing and producing again. So enjoy the time of rest. That's for somebody out there. Rest, y'all. Y'all need to rest. Okay. The next thing that I want to share with you concerning sheep tonight. This is the thing that I've been thinking about all week long. There are three things that happens with a sheep when they are if they're ill. There are three things that will happen with sheep, and the shepherd knows that the sheep is ill, that is sick, and that it needs help. That's why I say we need to pay attention to those or who are around us, pay attention to people who you are over those people. You need to pay attention. The three things are this right here. One is that the sheep is eating very little. They're not eating as much. They're just eating a little bit, a little here, a little there. They're not eating. And that is a sign that they are sick, that they are ill. The second thing is that the sheep are bleeding, which is that's Bleating, which is like the sheep, you could say talking, vocalizing excessively. They are not being quiet. They are just loud, 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 constantly bleeding, constantly just you just hear that sheep just crying basically all the time. So, and it's I said talking excessively, like with us, just talk, 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 talk. Can't shut up, can't be quiet, just talking about everything because it's like people just keep talking because they want to. Then they put stuff out on Facebook, then they put stuff on Instagram, then they just, you get around them and they just yap, 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 just talk, 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 talk. And talking excessively, if the sheep is bleeding, if they are going in like that excessively and not being quiet because they're usually moving around and they're not real loud. But if they continually be loud like that, if they're continually loud in that manner, then the shepherd knows, hey, something's wrong with this sheep because they're bleeding, they're talking too much. The third thing is that they lack energy. They get sluggish. They get they lack energy, they lack spirit. They're not they're just not themselves. They're sluggish, they're fatigued, they're tired. Those words is you notice those things, and if you look at it, and I look at it in a totally different way sometimes, but I when I read this and when I was studying this, I started paying attention to people because God says we're sheep. And I just started paying attention to people. And I was like, man, it's amazing how we are like sheep. Because if a lot of times if people eating too much, or even if they're eating just a little, just sometimes people appetite just they don't have an appetite. And you start watching them and they're going down a road that they shouldn't go down because they have lost their appetite due to grief, due to depression, due to being stressed out. Some people, when they're stressed, overeat. Some people, when they're stressed, don't eat at all. They just quit. They may eat a little bit here, a little bit there. They don't eat. And then you have people who will they will talk excessively, excessively. excessively about whatever. It's like they're going on and on and on and on and on, and a lot of times about the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Because when they are speaking about it, me personally, I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist, none of that. But when I hear people do that, it's like to me, they're trying to figure out what to do and they don't know what to do. So they talking and they're talking out loud to somebody else in hopes that I'm gonna hear something that's gonna help me. In hopes that I'm gonna hear something that's gonna help get me out of the place where I am. Maybe I can talk my way out of it. Maybe I can just keep talking about it and keep talking about it and keep talking about it. Eventually I'm gonna get an answer. But that's not necessarily so. So we need to pay attention to those who are around us. And if they're lacking energy, if they're lacking spirit, if they're fatigued all the time, if they was a person that would pray or they're seeking God about stuff and now they're not, or you have your people, you have your quiet people, but they still excited. You have your people who are overly excited, and you know those people. You're like, oh, okay. And it's hard to tell in somebody who you don't see like what people deem to be like real, like energetic, but you have to notice their spirit, man. It's like you pick up on things, you go, oh, something's not right here. Something's not going right here. Sometimes people will get really, really quiet. Sometimes they'll be really, really loud. And you have to know the person. So you take the time to know the person and you have to know God because knowing him is knowing that person because he can reveal to you what's going on and you can feel like something's not right with him, something's not right with that person. That's something's going on there, and I maybe need to talk to them a little while longer. I may need to call that person and have a conversation with them. I may need to do this, that, or the other because I realize, man, they need somebody else. Have you ever somebody came across your mind or came upon your heart and you said, you know what? Let me call. And you go ahead and you call them and they was like, I was just thinking about you, or I was going through this and I'm so glad that you called me. Or you send them a text, or you send them, you send them a message or something, or you drop something in the mail to them just because you were thinking about them. And when they get it at the right time. The phone call, the card in the mail, whatever it is that you're doing, the text message, whatever, the hug, they get it at exactly the time that they need it because they were not just placed on your heart just because you thought about them for a reason. I thought about two people this week and then ended up talking to them and I hadn't like picked up the phone, to call them. One person ended up calling me and I was like, "Oh my goodness, they called me." And I was like, I had just the night before had a dream about them and I didn't even really realize, what the dream was about. But I remember talking to them in the dream. Then I ended up talking to them the next day. So we never know what people are going through. We never know what's happening in their lives. So when you feel that nudge, to pray for that person, or you feel that nudge to contact them or send them a text, or maybe pick up the phone and say, I just called, just want to see how you doing. I'm not gonna keep you on the phone, just want to say hello. Those things mean a lot to people. Be intentional with it. Have your spirit ready to receive so that God can minister through you because you never know who may need that to hear your voice, to hear your voice. I have a friend that I called and I said, you know what? Just wanted to hear your voice today. Wanted to make sure that you're okay. Wanted to just hear your voice, not just send you a text, but just hear your voice. So sometimes we need to hear the other person's voice. Because sometimes you can hear in their voice that they're not doing too good. And sometimes they can hear in your voice that you're not doing good. And then vice versa. They can see it that you are doing well and that you are having a great time. And you can see that with them also just by hearing their voice. You may not be able to read it in a text. You might need to call. But what really, one of the things that stuck out to me was that in order to prevent the sheep from being ill, one of the major things that you have to do is that you have to provide good nutrition so that you can reduce stress in their lives, in the sheep's lives. And what the thing that really like touched my heart this week was when I read it where it was saying that, and it's in the book, guys, where sheep can be so stressed out that even when they slaughter the sheep to for the meat, they won't be able to utilize the meat because the meat will become rancid. It will just it won't be good meat for anybody to eat, and you can't sell it and give it to nobody because the sheep was so stressed. Because the sheep, y'all hearing this? Because the sheep was so stressed, what they were grooming them for to slaughter them for their meat, to so they can sell it and give it out to stores or wherever it's going to go, can't sell it, can't sell the meat, can't give the meat to nobody because the meat will become rancid even at the slaughter. That just stuck with me all week long. That you would be so stressed to the point it is in your it because it will, guys. Y'all know it's true. Stress will show up in your body. It will show up in your body. It will show up in pain. It will show up in headaches, backaches, arm aches, legs, muscles, joints hurting, all kinds of things going on in your body, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and it's stress. Stress, if a sheep is under stress, that type of stress, that's why the shepherd tries to keep the sheep mellow and keep them, flowing. Why? Because if that sheep gets truly stressed, even the meat is no good. And that's after the death of the sheep. The meat is no good. They can't sell it. It will spoil. It becomes rancid. It will not be able to be used. And we think that we can just keep going and keep going, even though we stressed out. Keep going and keep pushing. Even though we feel it in our bodies, we feel it, and we know that these headaches are stress. We know that this muscle is like it's stress because we're not relaxing. We're not at peace. The Word of God tells us that He will give us perfect peace if we keep our mind stayed on Him. He will keep us at perfect peace, and we need to be at peace. We need to be at peace. Why? So that we can be blessed, we can be broken, and we can be given out to the people around us the way that God wants us to. But He can't give rancid meat to nobody. And if you're stressing, you're rancid. It's in you. It's all in your body. You need to be able to release it and to let it go. Going back to what we said in the beginning, like with shedding off that wool, taking all that off. Like we said, even if you are in a place where it doesn't seem favorable, God can make it favorable. He can make it a safe place where you can sit with Him and you can release everything you need to release and let it go. Don't let the stress make you rancid. Don't let the stress make you spoiled, where you're not able to be any good to anybody, even with your much sacrifice. You're not going to be good to everybody or anybody if you don't learn how to relax and let stuff go. Don't let that stress sit in your body. Don't allow yourself to get under pressure. You know your point. You know different things that may be like bothering you. You know what kind of like ticks you off and puts you in a place of stress, and try to stay away from all of that. And you can't stay away from it, if you need somebody to talk to, then you can have a therapist in Jesus too. You can go talk to a therapist. There are many out there who love the Lord, who would love to sit down and talk to you. And you can talk to Jesus himself. You can sit down and have a conversation. But you need to find an outlet. You need to enjoy your life. If it's going out and going out for a run, some people like to run. Some people like to exercise. It's good for you. Not only will it get your body in shape, but you can release some of that stress off of you when you exercise. When you go out and you go for a walk outside, it will do it. If you do the walk videos inside, it will help you. And I was listening to a therapist like a few days ago, and they were saying even jumping from side to side or singing a song to yourself, a song that gives you joy. That's why it's like in the Bible it tells you to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to the Lord. Make a melody, you make a melody, put something together. Have a silly song that you can go to. Have a worship song that you can go to. Have a song of encouragement that you can go to. Nobody's out here. I'm not putting on a concert for everybody, but I am singing to myself. Why? Because I have to encourage me. I have to encourage myself. And like I've told y'all so many different times, sometimes I will put on videos and watch things that are going to make me laugh. I just want to laugh. So I will put something on that's just going to make me laugh. Or I will just sing to myself. It's like sing to yourself a new song. Make up a song, you know, and sing those songs to yourself. Why? Because it encourages you. It's releasing the stress up off of you. It's just putting new into your body instead of you walking around like slumped over with all that heaviness on you, or having all that heaviness in your heart, having all that stress on you. You don't want all that stress. Nobody wants the stress. I don't want the stress. I know y'all don't want the stress. Nobody wants to be stressed out. Nobody wants to go through this whole thing of being just stressed. So it's time to release some things. It's time to let some things go. It's time to realize that, hey, I need to be better. I can be a better sheep. I can be better. My meat doesn't have to be rancid. And if you're watching over somebody, if you are that shepherd, if you are that person that's over a group of people, pay attention to the people that you're over, that you're mentoring, that you're talking to, that you're spending time with, that family member that you're saying, oh, don't nobody want to be around them. Pay attention to them. What's going on? They may not allow you to talk to them because sometimes family is that way. It'd be like, oh, don't tell me nothing, and it's like they pulling at the air. But you know what? You can pray for them. You can pray that God release them from that stress. You can pray that they'll begin to see and know the way to go so that they can come from up under that stress, so that they can shear off that heaviness. They can allow God to just shear off that heaviness, take the heaviness off their heart, take the heaviness off their shoulders, off their mind, so that they can think clear. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to share this with y'all, and I'm going to get ready to just to end the show for tonight. I read something right before coming on today. I read something, and I was like, I'm gonna try it out and see. And I think it's gonna be true. But I'm gonna see. But it was saying that when water is boiling, you can't see your reflection in it. But when the water is not boiling, when it's just still, just in the pot, you can look over and you can see yourself in the reflection. And what they were saying was that when you're in those moments of anger, and I'm looking at it too, in those moments of stress, when you got all this stuff just bubbling, bubbling, going, you can't see clear. But when things start to settle down and they begin to just pan out and settle down, you're able to see clear. You're able to see better. I'm gonna try it out, y'all. I think it is true. But it just ministered to me to let us know that we can't have all this stuff going on all at one time. We have all these different things going, and you're not able to think clear when you got everything coming at you all at one time, and you're trying to go 20 different ways at once. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Get focused so that you can move forward. Slow down, get focused so that you can move forward. You can see clear when you're not up in a rage, when you're not up in anger, when you're not stressing out, stressing out, stressing out. You need to see clear, so slow it down. That's what I want y'all to do this weekend. Slow down. Don't be stressed out. Take off the heaviness. Take the heaviness from your heart, from off your shoulders, from out of your mind. Don't be stressing out. Pay attention to yourself. Are you talking excessively? Are you just bleating and bleating and bleating and just yelling out for no reason? Are you eating too much or eating too little? Are you eating right? Are you treating your body well? Are you fatigued? Or you just don't have no energy? Your spirit man feels low. Pay attention to you and take care of yourself. We only get one you. You're the only you that we're going to ever get for this earth to be blessed with. So take care of you. Starting this weekend. How about that? How about that? How about that? Oh, thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you. I thank you for tuning in, Judy. I thank you for your comments. Guys, I'm going to get ready to leave you now. I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your Friday with your friends. I know it's Super Bowl weekend. A lot of people are getting together starting tonight. They just going to make a whole weekend out of it. But whatever you do, be safe, okay? Be safe and enjoy the company. If you're going to have company over, enjoy the quietness. If you're just going to relax and read a good book like me, just enjoy yourself this weekend. Have the most amazing time that you can have. And remember that whole and beautiful is not just your destination, guys. It is most definitely your journey. Thank you for joining me. I will see you again next week right here, whole and beautiful, 7 p.m. Friday. Until we meet again, guys, good night. Love you much. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to be a guest or recommend a guest, you can contact me at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. On all other social media platforms, it's Whole and Beautiful. Remember, Whole and Beautiful is not just your destination, it is most definitely your journey.